So the AP's got these awards, right, as I just mentioned. And I'm not part of the voting. I'll be straight up. I've given up. I feel like I know a ton of football, and the Associated Press feels that because I'm an NFL employee, and it's not just me, it's a whole bunch of folks that work for NFL Network, and it's so offensive that I'm assumed that I can't speak my mind. So I'll say it here, who I would vote for. And wait a minute. Each time I have Roger Goodell's voice in my ear telling me who it should be. Absurd. It's absurd that so many people who work at NFL Network don't have a vote in this because we're supposedly NFL employees, and thus our opinions are stunted or stilted or slanted. But I would vote as MVP Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy. I go Lamar Jackson. He is the MVP of this season. And I love McCaffrey. And I know it just speaks to his awesomeness and his greatness that he's actually cracked a quarterback award lineup for finalists. But hell yeah, Lamar did the work this year. He's gotten better. They follow his lead. He is unbelievable. And again, this is a regular season award, so you can't just say, look at what he did in the second half against the Texans. This is already done. The votes are already in. I know that, even though I'm not part of the voting. Offensive player of the year, I give it to McCaffrey there. Tyreek, Lamar, CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey, Dak Prescott. Man, I know what CeeDee did. I really do, TJ. He'd finish second in my voting. But I go McCaffrey there. I honestly think the 49ers are the one seed because of him, which is why he's on the MVP list. I think he and Purdy are going to split the vote of anybody who thinks the Niners deserve a vote for MVP. But McCaffrey, that's the award that goes to whoever's. You know, if I'm a position player like McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, and CeeDee Lamb, I'm like outraged they put quarterbacks in this category. It's like right? That's the MVP's for you.
Yeah, let's have this.
Exactly. Get out of this category. Get out of here.
This is not for you.
Right. Exactly. I'm that may finally, you know, if I was in charge, I would basically say no quarterbacks are allowed as offensive player of the year. I'm sorry, but it's McCaffrey. I would go McCaffrey there. Defensive player of the year. Man, oh man, this is such a tough one. I know Deron Bland had a bunch of pick sixes, and Micah was my pick going into the season. TJ Watt, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett. It would be between Myles Garrett and Max Crosby, even though I know Watt was superb. Gosh, I'd eventually cast my ballot for Garrett. You know, number one defense in certain regards this year, and he was just a monster. And I've never seen anybody create a pre-snap penalty because he was motioning. I've never seen that before.
Because he was
motioning, and the Titans had two tight ends try and chip him. They had multiple people travel with him.
The guy who's pretending he's out dribbling a basketball.
Well, I mean, I know that's Crosby was superb too, and he chose a coach. I don't know if that's part of a
TJ Watt, 19 sacks.
I know that I get it.
Crosby
that's the
Garrett,
toughest one.
6th and 7th.
That's the toughest one. And we'll ask Gerald McCoy his thoughts on this when he joins us. Coach of the year, my coach of the year was Dan Campbell going in, but I would. And it's John Harbaugh, D'Amico Ryans, Kyle Shanahan, and Kevin Stefanski. When it's all said and done, I would give it to Stefanski. I'd have voted him.
McVay, snub.
Well, I mean, Shanahan. And
that guy's a super team.
I know it, but
they should be good.
You don't just roll the footballs out when you're a one seed. John Harbaugh was incredible, and Dan Campbell is a guy who may win it because he has that team completely turned around, and this is the year of their turnaround being official, and his personality and you know and also his smarts too. And D'Amico Ryans what a turnaround that is as well, and what a great season they did have. But Stefanski had 4 quarterbacks.
That's crazy. Lost
his top running back early on, and then damn near, he did make the playoffs with Joe Flacco. I mean, honestly, how the hell did they do that? How many teams would have been out 15 ways to Sunday? Not an 11-win team.
Great question.
And again, you cannot take into account the fact that the Texans curb stomped them in that wild card game, because you have to put in your vote before the playoffs.
You take the playoffs into consideration. Andy Reid probably should get a lot of love.
Well, I mean, you take the playoffs in consideration, then obviously Dan Campbell and D'Amico Ryans would split my vote. But you got to give it to Stefanski, right?
I think so.
I mean, goodness gracious. Deshaun, then a rookie, then P.J. Walker, then Deshaun, and then suddenly Deshaun's gone, and then you go with Flacco, and you don't skip a beat. Nick Chubb goes out too. Get out of here.
That was the big one.
Come on. And the running game still looks terrific, and the passing game too. So, those will be my votes. What say you? Hour 3 coming up.
What we did at the middle of the season, you, Chris, and we all did our middle of the season awards who we thought would.
Yeah.
And I think I had Lamar at MVP, Cheetah at Offensive Player of the Year, Miles at DPoY, and I had D'Amico Ryans as coach.
Yeah,
so
I mean, and
you
right definitely did. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Puka Nacua, C.J. Stroud, and congratulations to Bijan Robinson still making that mix.
Wow. I mean, that's got to be CJ, right?
I love Puka Nacua.
Yeah, that's my man. He was on my team, too.
But CJ Stroud did stuff at quarterback we may never see a rookie do again. I would vote for CJ Stroud, and I would have done it before the playoffs, too.
I mean, Puka only set the record.
I know, brother.
I
know it.
Yards.
I get it.
60-year-old record.
Will they split it? But CJ, it's a quarterback-driven league, man.
Yeah. We make it seem like quarterback's the most important position.
He didn't play the whole year.
I know. I get it. And Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Joey Porter Jr., Devin Witherspoon, and Kobe Turner. I'd go Kobe Turner for the Rams.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I think he was a standout.
I'd say him or Joey Porter.
No, I'd go Turner. So that's where I would go. And Assistant Coach of the Year, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Todd Monken, Jim Schwartz, Bobby Slowick. Wow, that's a tough one, too. But I think maybe you go with one of the Ravens coaches there, right? Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.